By the end of this segment, you should understand how to add and remove steps in a substantive audit program using the program step library. So what is a program step library? A program step library is a bank of steps used to populate a substantive audit program. When you first start using Knowledge Coach, you start with a blank audit program and select the steps based on your risk assessment. Linking procedures to risk will be covered in a different segment. In this segment, we're going to work on a cash audit program. We see the program on the left and the program step library on the right. No steps are chosen yet. Now, it's a natural tendency for an auditor to want to jump in and start completing steps and mark the ones that don't apply as not applicable. This leads to inefficiency and confusion for less experienced auditors. As mentioned previously, the program is blank when we start. It's important to emphasize that choosing steps is a fundamental part of the audit plan. Therefore, before we start completing steps, we're going to only select steps that are relevant to our client to begin with. At this point, if you've done everything in the correct order, you should have most of your planning and risk assessment work papers completed, including, but not limited to, the materiality form, the scoping and mapping form, control evaluation forms, and summary of risk assessments. The program step library is organized as follows. First, we have steps addressing assertions for account balances and classes of transactions. Then we have additional procedures. The next steps address presentation and disclosure assertions, and the last step is if you plan to use an analytical procedure as the primary substantive test. If you've completed the Knowledge Coach work papers in the correct order, the risk summary information for the area will flow to the audit program to help you choose your steps. The best practice for choosing steps is to have the risk summary next to the program step library. That way, I can see the relevant assertions and the planned audit approach, as well as my risk, and I can also see the steps in the program step library, along with the assertions that those steps address. Also, before I start choosing steps, I need to complete the tailoring questions to quickly knock out anything that truly does not apply to my client. This will put an NA next to those steps. Now I'll start choosing my steps. I'll check the box next to each step I'd like to add to my program, noting along the way that the steps I select should address the relevant assertions and risks for my client. For example, I see existence occurrence selected, therefore I should have at least one step that addresses existence occurrence. Rights and obligations is selected, I should have at least one step that addresses rights and obligations. The mix and how many steps is up to the auditor, and it's based on auditor judgment. I can also uncheck sub-steps. Once I've chosen my steps, I select Update Work Paper to populate the audit program and substantive procedures. Now my audit program is populated with the steps that I've selected. To remove a step, uncheck that steps box and select Update Work Paper. If, down the road, I need to add more steps or extend my procedures, I will select the step again, or select another procedure, and choose Update Work Paper again. If you've chosen the option to keep the audit program populated with steps, these steps selected in the program step library will roll forward to next year. Your key takeaways are: selecting program steps for significant financial statement areas is part of the planning process. To add a step, check the box in the program step library and select Update Work Paper. To remove a step, uncheck the box in the program step library and also select Update Work Paper. For more information on populating an audit program, visit our support site, your Knowledge Coach training materials, or the Knowledge Coach user guide or help menu located in Engagement.